and then it'll send the feed to here. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, we're actually live.
Oh,
Well
are
then.
we live? Did
Yeah,
it work?
it
Oh my
worked.
goodness.
So it doesn't go to that
Gracious.
little middle thing.
Okay, it just pushes it live. All right, let
Yeah.
me go take a look and
Alrighty.
actually make sure.
What up, y'all?
Hey guys.
been a
Hello,
while,
you
man.
wonderful people. How you doing? Good to have you. Happy afternoon.
Yes.
Or wherever you are watching from. We're so excited to have you here. Just became a member.
Hey.
Hello. Okay, we'll talk
Much
about our
love.
membership program, which we just launched very recently.
Yes.
But happy, beautiful afternoon to you guys, or morning, or evening. We might keep this live up. We're still deciding on whether or not we keep the live up.
Yeah, we'll see.
But oh my gosh, Bassam's here, Janelle's here. Hello. How you doing?
What up,
Thank you for
y'all?
joining us potentially in your workday, or just, if you're entrepreneuring like we are, just a regular Friday afternoon. Cool. I'm just gonna tell our social media manager right now to just post that we're live. So
Yes, so down to be doing that. So it's been a while since we've done a live, and we thought since we launched the membership, it's probably a good idea to jump on and just basically, we're going to do a bunch of things. We're going to be answering some questions, of course, which usually happens every time, which is fantastic. So first things first, put any questions that you guys have in the comments there. Hey ZZ, what up? And so we'll get to those during the chat. We'll just wait till all the questions sort of come through, and we'll address them as we go. But we thought what we should do is we kind of like, if you guys been watching, we sort of just talk about social media stuff. But I feel like we've never really spoke about like the high season story, and like we never
we
talk
did it
about
like
our clients.
once ever. We actually
one of those,
did
like-
it once on also Bassam's. So Bassam, who you see in the chat there, he has a YouTube channel. It's fantastic. Check it out. It's all
Throw him a
about finance,
subscribe.
real estate. He's the one that also helped us buy this house. So yeah,
Irina.
So because he
What
set us
up?
up for success. Irina, oh my gosh, hi. Roxana,
what
hi.
up?
Nice to see you. Nice to meet you. That's the only time we ever kind of talked about it recently, I would say, like our
Recently.
story.
And that came out. Oh yeah, that was like a couple
like
months ago.
a couple months ago.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you might have not seen that, so I feel like it's worth breaking it down again very quickly.
I think it is for sure.
Yeah.
Just for like context and stuff, so like people understand, particularly like with doing something like launching a membership and some of the other things that we're working on. I think it's helpful for people. Like I like to know who I'm listening to and who I'm watching, and like what they're talking about, and
Why they deserve to be talking about anything they're talking about.
Yeah, basically. Exactly right. So we'll start with that. But once again, if anyone has questions as we go, just dump them in the comments there, and we'll get to them.
Also, we have a
afterwards.
gift later, okay?
Ooh.
So this live will be probably just under an hour, maybe an hour. But we have a gift some way through there. So sorry, I interrupted you.
No, that's
Go
it.
ahead, kick it off. Go ahead.
So I was just going to get into the story. So I mean, I don't know if everybody knows, but like High Season is essentially, we're like an agency. Like a lot of people who make content on YouTube within the social media space, mostly creators. Is that fair?
Yeah, I would say a lot
Yeah.
of the time they're creators. Or yeah, they were creating and then maybe being a creator turned into a business. That's what happens a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But often they're creator first.
Gotcha.
That's what we see on the YouTube space.
Yes. So we were the opposite way around. So I've been doing personally. I'm from Australia, as you probably know, but I've been doing social media since about like 2007 professionally. When before it was really a thing. You had to always had to convince the companies that it was worth actually spending
All the
time
time.
on.
Yeah.
It was a nightmare.
Yours
It
would
really-
have been even worse back then.
Yeah, the
But
early days were kind of rough because no one understood it. Like, they're paying somebody to run Facebook and Twitter, which were the only two at the time that companies were doing. Yeah. I didn't even know if LinkedIn was around.
Yeah.
Definitely nothing else. Yeah. So, we've been doing it a long time and seeing it change a lot over the years. So it's been super interesting. I was always working in it as like in the professional sense, like corporate type of stuff. And when I moved to Canada, I wanted to move out of it. I do some other stuff. So when I moved here, I didn't want to focus on that, but inevitably I ended up back into it because I guess that's where my personal skill set was. I was dealing with immigration, so it was really hard for me. I couldn't just get like a legal job. It was like I had to do some under the table stuff to keep things going in the meantime. And coincidentally, Tiff you started helping me with my projects that I was working on.
Yeah.
And then you started getting some opportunities within the social media space as well, which is super cool.
Yeah.
Dance, yeah, AE.
Hey Dan, I'm gonna make you a moderator. But yeah, so I was helping you with your projects, and then on the side, I guess I'm gonna put this in a timeline.
Yeah.
So helping you 2011, 2012, right? And then
Correct. I moved in 2010.
Yeah.
And then we met. We worked at the Apple store together.
Yeah, so we used to work at Apple. Shout out Apple.
Apple. So we worked there. We met.
Yeah.
And then about 2 years later, well, a year and a half later, whatever.
Yeah.
We moved to Montreal.
Yeah.
That was in Toronto. So we were there. We were working at the Apple store, and I think you started getting the social media opportunities around that time.
Yeah. So I did already. I was always just interested in social, and anyways, it's like tech kid too, right? So like, have always like had a computer, had the internet, grew up on it my whole life. So well, from the age of 9 onwards, when I got my first personal computer. But anyway, so always loved the internet stuff. Always had been in forums, Yahoo chats, all the old vintage stuff that not that many people even remember existed. So like social, I just thought was interesting when it started coming around. Started doing things for like my own accounts, and then I think you kind of like the vibe for my own account.
Were you on MySpace? Because I was got
no
big on MySpace.
Who was on MySpace? I think that was like older people, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Mike, we're gonna get to your questions too.
And thank you.
So everyone, start dropping your questions.
Drop
Any questions you have, we're gonna be answering them.
We're gonna get on them.
Please make sure to
throw them
that.
in there. We'll address everything.
Yeah. So.
But were you not on MySpace like that?
No.
Was anyone on MySpace? That was like, I think it was like 07, 08 from memory.
Oh, you know why? Because Facebook started in 2006, so there was no reason for us to be on MySpace, I think, at that point. Because I was on Facebook like when Facebook launched.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got it.
I was actually with Bassam in school with Elnaz.
Okay.
And she was like, "Hey, this Facebook thing is new," and we're like, "Yeah, let's sign up." Right. Like
that's
that, yeah. Done. So from the beginning, so I guess it was like no point for me.
So
to be
you
there.
had it when it was like, I remember when everyone invited us, like you kept getting the Facebook invites, like fine, whatever, because it was after it expanded after the university, but it wasn't like it was like people didn't really know how to use it. Yeah. Because MySpace was more to promote like
music all that stuff, or whatever you're doing. Yeah, the Jeffree Stars, all those people were the MySpace people.
Right. Okay.
Trisha Paytas, probably all those people were probably back then.
Then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that had its own like celebrity space, but nonetheless was always interested in social. Started doing stuff for my own self. People started asking me questions, and whenever anyone's asking you questions about like how do you do this, how do you blah blah, then you have to start realizing maybe I have like a skill set here that someone else doesn't have. So then started helping Craig and his brother and like working on their projects. Then got my first job in social in 2012. Yes. With Prasa. Yeah. So first job in 2012, managing their accounts. Only Twitter, and people were really using Facebook back then. Really, as Facebook business pages.
Okay.
I think a little bit, but it still wasn't as big as it ended up evolving into from memory.
It was mostly.
But I think we were doing Facebook and Twitter mostly. And then continued to evolve from there. I got a job working at a law firm and ended up leading the social and marketing for that law firm as well. And then we were both marketers. It was like, that's a whole other story. Maybe in the members channel, because I don't even know if I should put it public how hectic that workplace was. But it's a funny story. I feel like as if I don't name it. Yeah, you know that whole life. It was some time over there. But either way, it wasn't marketing. We both were in marketing and decided that why are we doing marketing for other people when we could just, if we both have the skill set.
Yeah, and we were both always doing business stuff. Like whatever. I've done a lot of stuff in the music space in Australia and here. We moved to Montreal and we started running an event, funnily enough, or being a part of a team that ran an event called Hip Hop Karaoke Montreal, which was a massive thing that people like lost their minds over.
Yeah.
And that was good for us because we didn't know anybody in Montreal. So it allowed us to get to know people whilst also doing business stuff. And then we ran another event in Toronto called Hip Hop and Breakfast.
Yeah.
So we did a bunch of like music event things. So we're always trying to do something.
Yeah.
And we started, I think it was 2014, when we decided to combine powers, I guess. Like I was, you were working a job that was outside of the scope of that. The jobs that I were working, like I said, were immigrant little like under the table jobs that weren't anything crazy.
But marketing.
No, it was in social media. I was on social media for different like art festivals and different things like that. But then we decided to like come together and actually like, you know what, let's just see if we can do this, because that hip hop karaoke was ending and we were like, well, we could probably do something with that. We tried to do it with some of the team and it ended up just being the two of us. It didn't really work out, which is better for the best.
Worked out better.
And then we started doing I guess we started getting clients. We had people asking us all the time. Same thing you. People kept asking you how to do things back in the day, and people always wanted to work with us. So we're like, hey, let's. And we remember we put together little contracts. We got
and we were doing it on the side. So we decided to, but we hadn't quit our jobs.
No.
So even though we decided we were going to start doing it, was like side hustle projects that we're doing in addition to our work.
Yes.
And then we knew that we were going to wait until it felt like viable enough to leave and launch and like really full launch the agency.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was 2014. We had a few clients, and I'm talking, we were charging like $300 a month, something ridiculous, like super low.
It's nice to look at the old contracts.
Yeah, it's kind of cute. You look back, and you're like, look at us, man. We had no idea, but it was cool because it taught us how to deal with clients and how to, because we'd only done it in a professional sense as far as the social media stuff. So we had to figure out how do you deal with people, what do you do, and what to charge. We didn't know what to charge. So we were like, all right, we just figured out. I think our first rate was like $30 an hour or something because we thought that was more than minimum wage or what, it was. It felt good enough based on our skill set. Probably still under what it was worth, but
for sure
we knew more than most. So we're like, all right, that will do. And then I think we did that from 2014, and then by the time we decided to go full time in July 2015 as like a birthday gift to you to go full time. You quit your job, which was hectic.
Yeah.
And then I left mine, which I think it just finished up naturally at the same time. I don't even think I left. I think it just finished up naturally.
But I think it was like maybe we were deciding. But yeah, if it worked.
I remember it happening, and they just like, no work for now. And then he messaged me back, and like a few months later, I'm like, no, we're
already done. Yeah,
we're already doing our thing. But the funny thing was, and this is the funny thing about business, is we went full time. I had some stocks from Apple when we worked there. You get the stock price, and I had like $5,000 worth. It wasn't much. So I sold those to pay for, which actually I think I explained this in Bassam's video that we did on the Canadian Finance Pro channel. We sold that to be like, all right, there's $5,000 that'll cover us rent. At the time, our rent was like about a G, I guess.
Yeah, a little under, yeah.
It was pretty good. Montreal's
good
cheap.
Time. Montreal's so low priced.
Not now.
Yeah.
Not now.
Yeah, but yeah.
So we saved that up. So we were like, this was July, so that'll cover us rent for the rest of the year. So all we had to worry about was just, we had basically no expenses aside from our phone and internet. So we didn't have a car, we didn't have the pop, we had nothing. So we were like, all right, let's just go hard. So within 2 weeks, the 2 clients that we had left us. So then we were nothing. So we had
that's business led.
No jobs.
Yeah.
No nothing, and then no clients anymore. So we're like, oh damn, what do we even do now? So then Tiff went and hustled, and this probably kind of almost gets us into the other thing where we're going to actually talk about the one thing we never ever talk about in our videos is our clients. We've always kind of kept that on the low, but I kind of feel like it's important for you guys to know the sort of scale that we've been working at, to understand why we do these videos and what the authority that we're able to tell you guys about stuff with. It's not like just creators figuring it out. Like, we're working with these companies for multiple brands for a decade plus. So Tiff found a company at the time was called Flatbook, and they were a little Airbnb kind of company in Montreal that were basically getting people's rent if they were going to be away. Be like, look, we'll pay your rent. And then they took all the furniture out, refurnished it, and then rented it out on Airbnb essentially, and made a bunch of money. So she went and convinced them they wanted an internal employee. She convinced them that you could probably say, I don't know why I'm speaking your story.
Yeah, basically hit up Sonder on this thing called AngelList.
Flatbook at the time.
They were called Flatbook. They're a $1 billion unicorn company, and we've had the opportunity to work with them on their social strategy. You can go check them out, Instagram.com/SonderStays. Because I was like, we didn't get Sonder. Anyways, that's another story. Because there's a Sonder musician group that actually we really like anyway, so fine. Yeah. But long story short, hit them up, convinced them to hire us as an agency instead of getting the employee. And we were able to watch them in that entire journey. They were led by like 2 23-year-old real hustler guys. Basically what Sonder does is they take the Airbnb and the hotel formats and merge them together into one where you get like the hotel amenities and everything that you love, but you're also staying in an Airbnb. So that was
a cool neighborhood.
Yeah, in a cool neighborhood. And so you get all the fun stuff, but with all like the amenities and security of like the hotel style.
But they weren't doing that when you got them. You got them
their business, just like every business, went through ebbs and flows. So that's like what the natural state of it is now, but they went through so many ebbs and flows. But yeah, they were like our first client, and they were like our longest running client, I think 8 years.
They were most of the time, yeah.
And they were, that was like our first big, like, okay, break as a client. And yeah, they are absolutely killing it. really awesome to have watched them grow. Then we got and this is why I'll say, hey Heston, this is why I'll say it's super important to be posting regularly, and we actually want to do something like the stuff we bought from Instagram. Is something that we're gonna do because like we noticed lately, like even more so, we're just buying a bunch of things based on like real businesses posts on Instagram. So not even ads, not even so much like an ad doing a project, but literally people talking about their business. So for us, we actually had we put out a post, and the post was like a meme, just basically saying, when you say you try to run your Instagram by yourself and you can't. It was something like that, and it was the "why you always lying" face. It was a big meme back then. And we ended up getting contacted by these two brothers who owned a company. I'm going to go a bit faster so we can answer the questions.
Yeah.
These two brothers who owned a company, because they loved the meme, they loved our vibe because we were showcasing our personality through our content. It was actually something different for us. Like, we were still trying to be like super just like professional in the beginning.
That was still 2015.
With everything. Yeah, because we had only like really started like really putting forth the full behind the agency. Got them, and then we did such great work for them. They referred us to another agency, which got us the NBA contract. So then we ended up working with the NBA on the All-Star Weekend for 2016.
2016 in Toronto, doing live photography.
Yeah, we used to do something called live social events. So it was like photography, video, so that way it's like, which we still think is important and every brand should do when you're having live events, getting that like super high quality photography and video is amazing right in the moment in time. Yeah. Actually, Irina, who's watching it, she worked with another client of ours, and she's fantastic in the stuff that we've talked about that she's done really well based on the consultation relationship that we have. But yeah, so then we did that with them. Then we ended up getting Sony as a client as well through that same partnership.
The Xperia phone, so it was actually running the Canadian and American account.
Yes, for Sony Xperia.
So that was kind of hectic because that was one of the first, aside because Sonda wasn't big at the time, that was our first experience dealing with like corporations. And like when you realize that corporations, it's almost like no different sometimes as far as the organization, and it's not no shade to like Sony, but like all of the companies just have more zeros at the end, and they really just run by people, and it's all kind of the same thing. It's very interesting. So like that was like the early exposure, I guess, to that, and to figure out like, you know, we had to do reports like in a way that the other clients hadn't demanded before. Had to go into the office. You know, we lived in Montreal, so we had to go to Toronto once a month to do like a monthly report in person. They didn't want to do it like virtually. So like really working with the corporations, understanding the expectations and the different, you know, needs that they had, trying to deliver that as an agency, which is it was a very eye-opening process, and we had them for like 2 years. So worked with Sony, and then from there Burrito Boys,
we worked with Burrito Boys, which is this awesome franchise in Ontario. That's like, they had 28 stores, so we were doing the social strategy and execution, content creation, everything, photos, videos for their main account.
And they still use our photos to this day. We stopped working with them, I think, in
we were very nice, and we gave them all the photos to continue using.
Because they were cool. We technically shouldn't have, because they only paid us for X amount, but we gave them when we left. We were like, the lady was nice that we dealt with, so we're like, cool, take them. And like this week, what day is it? Friday. It was like 2 days ago they used our photo from like 2018 to sit like at the front of one of their stores in Toronto that's closing because they're building condos there. Did you see it was
I saw
condos?
It. I forwarded it to you.
No, but I didn't read it.
Oh, it was condos.
We were more just like, they're still using these photos. But either way, Burrito was a good look as well.
Shout out our photographer Brad.
Yes, Brad, my brother, came through and did some fantastic photography work. So that was all him. And that was fun as well, because we were bringing family in and being able to sort of continue the photography. That's something that was the content creation, and basically that finished, I think, December 31st,
they finished during COVID.
No, it was
right before COVID.
Right before COVID, and it's hilarious because it worked out pretty well, because basically all content creation.
We stopped that services when COVID happened. And then from then on, the client that we ended up working with, who's still our client today, is Meta. So when we started working with them, they were called Facebook. Specifically, we work with Meta on their program. It's called Elevate. It's amazing. It's this program that is focused. It's so aligned with us, because basically what we do is we educate business owners and creators on how to use Meta tools, so Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, any of the tools, to grow their businesses and to basically just like whatever you need to do to make your dreams, whatever they are, come true. So we've been working with Meta. So everything we say though is our own opinion. So even though Meta is a client of ours, I just want to make that disclaimer that it's always our opinion. It is not their opinion. It is not insider information. We do not do that. We have very secure NDAs. Everything that we say is just our own opinion and is not affiliated with them at all. It's always our own impressions of what we're using and what we're seeing. But Adam Asori is the one that you go to for the final say.
The tips.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you think about the people that we're working with are like program managers and stuff. Like
they're not like we're not working with Adam directly or something like that.
We're not verified.
Directly.
Like they didn't go and get us verified.
Yeah, we didn't ask
to do any stuff. We didn't ask
because it's only anyways. It's a vanity thing.
Dirty.
But also speaking of an update, verification is coming to business accounts now. So that's something that they just announced. So
wonder how they're gonna do it. I guess it'd be similar to when you verify.
Oh, probably like how when
the gray tick that used to have. And you had to submit the incorporation documents on Facebook. It's probably that.
Yeah, insider info. Oh,
insider info.
Hey, you're not getting that. Okay. I want to wrap up so we could do the questions. But and then again, we also have the privilege of just working with small business owners, mostly small business owners and some creators on just like their overall strategy. So consulting, lots of like one-on-ones, designing strategies, plans, helping them with tools and all of that stuff. And that's kind of like where this is continuing to evolve to.
And just to clarify as well then, so we wanted to do the YouTube videos. We've kind of said this in videos in the past. We wanted to do it for a long time. We were big fans of Gary Vee, and he was like, document your journey or just put stuff out there. And we knew we wanted to. I have a craft beer podcast that I host, and I've been doing music stuff forever. So I'm used to putting my face in front of this stuff. Tiffet was totally new to. So we had to kind of figure out what that was going to look like, and we hesitated.
I was not interested in having my face on anything, period.
Yeah, and I respected that. So we took our time, and we always joked. We talked about it here before, where we joke about the like we recorded like 5 videos and they were up like real close and super awkward. We didn't know how to talk. It was strange. So it took us a little bit to do it. So we started.
All those videos are deleted in a folder somewhere. That
we have them. But we started that December 2018. And so now coming December this year will be 5 years on YouTube. So we just thought, we're always sort of sharing little things on social, but we really like leaned in from that time onwards, leaned into really like sharing our knowledge and sharing the tips. And the reason why we're telling all this story is we have the knowledge because we do it in real life, and we've done it so much longer than we've been telling you about it. That, in my opinion, is what differentiates High Season from some of the other, people who are making this type of content. Is we've done it for many brands, from massive corporations to food chains to like small businesses. And there's so many other clients, obviously, we're not talking about, but those are the main ones that, would be social proof, I guess, for us. So, over the years, we've just kept ramping that up and adding more and more different things and having a stronger strategy across the board of just like, our mission online to share it. We could just like, a lot of agencies, I guess you'd like brag about the clients or things that you're doing. We don't talk about really any of that stuff. We just talk about here's how you do things. We're sharing our knowledge, trying to give as much value as possible. And that's when we decided to bring in the memberships, which we'll get to in a sec. But that was essentially the reason behind everything that you
Hi, Bomber Tank. What's going on? Okay, so let's get to some of these questions. This is great. We kind of really want to just give you a rundown of who we are and then collect the questions so we can go through.
Or do you want to go straight to questions first?
So basically, this live Q&A is an example of something that you see linked to this. I'll just say it quickly because I want to get some and then we can talk in the middle. Okay, so basically what we've just launched is a membership channel. Shout out to the members who I already see in the chat, like Janelle. Yes. But what we're going to be doing is these live Q&As now inside of the membership, and we're also going to be doing a few different things. We're going to be offering bi-weekly live Q&As. We're going to actually be doing resources. So if you guys have ever gone to our shop on our website, we give out, we sell resources and templates. Like all social media based, content calendars,
metrics trackers.
Exactly. So we are going to be giving free resources and templates within that membership, so it's covered as part of the membership fee. We're also going to be doing our vlogs there, so things that we just feel like will wreck our optimization of YouTube on our public channel, but we still want to do for the community and people who actually care to see us. Because it's also this thing is like, do you actually like care about the extra stuff behind? Like we have creators that we follow who used to give like tips and really great information, then all of a sudden they turn into a vlog channel just like showing you the life, and I'm like, no, I want value. So we want to keep the YouTube like, okay, there's value in seeing behind the scenes, but it's like you also really love someone, and we're fine to know that if some people don't just love us and want to talk to us but just actually want the tips. So we're like, we'll keep the tips and all of that on our main channel, and then in this membership is where we might have a little more fun and just kind of like showcase like the behind the scenes. You know, we went to Pinterest yesterday, for example. That's something that we would like kind of showcase more on the member side.
That was lit.
Which was really fun. Dan was there.
Dan loved it.
And then the fourth thing that is involved is also just like bonus interviews and things like that. So bringing in somebody like Bassam. Yeah, Bassam. Just I haven't told you yet, but like an interview with Bassam about like finance and business, that would be in the membership channel and not on the main channel as well, because it's not about the direct things that people usually ask us about, which is social media and Instagram. So that's going to kind of be more of the business side on that end. And then we're also going to be offering member rates on our services, on specific services. So that's the quick 60-second rundown. So should we get into some questions?
Yes.
So the membership link is pinned, and it's also in the description.
Yeah, and it's just on the channel pages. Hit join, and we made it, just to be clear, we just made it $5 a month. We're not trying to drain anybody.
Not in this economy. So we're keeping it chill, but we just need to guard it a little bit to an extent, so that it's like the people who really want it, and where we can make it affordable, but still worth the time investment that we're gonna have to put in there.
Exactly. That's a great summary.
Yeah.
So questions, starting with, I think Mike was the first question.
So Mike, who is a 2-time stroke survivor, world champ. Go Mike. Okay. Do you want to go first? You can go.
When I switched my personal profile to professional mode on Facebook, all the trending and popular music options for my reels went away, and it's a free play type music. Okay, it's really bad. So that means you're probably in a business account. So you're professional. The professional account shouldn't dictate the type of music. It's business or creator. So if you probably went to professional, and you're probably a business account. So you're saying on Facebook? Sorry, not Instagram.
Professional on Facebook. Yeah, all the trending and popular music. Yeah, it's gone now.
It dashes that? Okay.
Yeah.
So there's different.
It's the music on there is just not great.
It's not hidden. So the best solution, of course, is Epidemic Sounds.
So Epidemic Sounds amazing. That's what we use for our videos for the exact same reason, where we don't like the music that's provided. Yeah. There's also I believe it's facebook.com/sound collection. Let me check the link. And Facebook has free music that at least it's better. So it's better than what's like really being added to the reels.
It's real music, as in like everything's real music, but you know what I mean, it's like from artists, and I think
facebook.com/sound. So that music is way better than what you're seeing on the main thing when you're just editing and trying to choose a song, but you'll have to edit outside of the app. Or you'll have to add the music yourself, basically. Yeah. But it's copyright free.
Yeah, which is so then you're fine. Because you've essentially licensed it via Facebook.
Exactly.
So then they make it cool. Irina, you champion. If you were to start a business Instagram account from scratch today, what would be your top strategies or priorities? Tiff, what do you think about that one?
Oh, I'm doing a gift.
Ooh.
So can you answer, because I'm doing a gift?
So the top strategies, obviously ads are if you're running a business, ads are by far the guaranteed way to make sure that you're reaching people. The other thing is making and I think our last video we released that was a little savage, we definitely sort of went through it there, where I would make sure everything is on point. I think that's so important, and I think it's a little, people might stress about other things, but I think it's like the exact thing you need to be doing. For example, say like we're big on coffee. We love like third wave cafes. Bassam knows that too. And whenever you visit a coffee shop, I want to go to their Instagram. I'll find them on Google Maps. I have like a nice little way of doing it. Like you find where you are, you search for cafe, you ignore the Tim Hortons and Starbucks, and you find the independent ones. And then you tap on them, and if you see there's a few characteristics that you need, latte art, plants, natural wood, light, metal, different things that all of these cafes have, find them on Instagram. Now, if on Instagram, if they don't have their hours in the bio, their hours, I want to know what beans they're using. I want to make sure if they're doing that, they got latte art, show it off, like their photos, high resolution photos, like having all the information. Say if there's a public holiday, have that pinned post, have that pinned to the top with all of your hours and stuff like that. So just think what the consumer wants to see and give them that from the beginning. And the key word that we used in that last video was friction. You want to remove all friction from basically everything that you're doing. And anytime someone comes to the page, if I had to wonder if you're open because I can't find it easily, you've lost a customer.
For sure.
And more times that we would just like move on to the next thing. So I just think make sure your customers, potential customers, have everything they need, be very responsive, respond to every single comment, and DM as well. Make sure you just answering if people post about your products or services or whatever. Share it, show them love, just build that community. I think those are just so key. And whilst that sounds maybe simple, most people don't do it. And I think that's like it changes everything, because if you're looking at ourselves just as consumers, we have not become a customer out of business for reasons like that before.
Yeah, this is if you're starting Instagram account from scratch. Okay,
like,
yeah.
Over and above, like say ads obviously is the best thing, but to keep the
if your focus is like growth, then yeah, ads is gonna be the one. I definitely also like put. This is very quickly. You should definitely like make sure that what Craig said, your profiles are filled out. But then also in the content, the pieces that you share, like for the first 9 posts that you share, they should also. The first thing you should have content pillars. So you should have a social media strategy that has content pillars, and every content pillar that you have should ladder back up to your business goal or the point of as to why you started the channel.
Yes.
And then what you would do with those first 9 posts is really make sure that they are great representations of those content pillars, but also of the content that people can expect from you. Make sure that they're high res and that they're optimized. And then once those posts are out there and they're beautiful looking, they are reels. A lot of them are reels, the majority of them, including 3 that you would pin to the top that would let everybody always know who you are easily or what you're offering as soon as they come to you. Then you can start going out and actually engaging with other accounts. What's great is, I don't know if you all have seen that Reels has new feeds. So there's 2 new feeds, and one of them is a location specific feed.
Ooh,
that's fun. Like a feed as a local business owner that I would be going through with and engaging basically all day. I wouldn't even really mess with the normal feed in terms of growth tactics. I would be focusing on the location feeds so that Instagram can start associating me with the location. So that's really great if you're a local business owner too. But otherwise, hashtags, similar accounts, those are people that you can engage with just to drive them to your profile. And then when your profile is optimized, you should hopefully start growing because people are easily understanding that they're in the right place. Or if you're a cafe, awesome, maybe I should try them out. They look good, coffee looks great. These are the times they're open, everything's easily there. They use single origin beans, that's my vibe. And then you go from there.
Yes. Great.
I just wanted to add that too.
No, it's perfect. I'm glad you said that. Janelle, member with the little, you got the little.
Hey, Janelle.
When your reel is added to an audio page, is that a good thing for expanding your reach? I guess it is.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's without question. This is great, yeah.
I like it when you go to the audio page and then you can just see how other people have used it. Like particularly if you're looking for a trend or something, like maybe there's a trend associated and people are using that particular audio. Like if you're trying to discover new trends, to see what, maybe there's a certain thing that people are using that song for, then, or whatever, random sound, or whatever. I think it's definitely a good thing. And then maybe people will like your video, like, oh, what else is this person doing?
Yeah.
And then be able to, get some follows, and at the very least engagement from there, which is great. When is reposting reels, I don't know why this is like the way it's better in the white font on this screen is terrible. When reposting reels, is it better to remove the watermarks, or is it okay to just give credit to the creator? I would say removing, well, they specifically said, I don't know if you guys remember, Adam Mosseri said in one of the, it was sort of like an overall tips about reels, is that watermarks from other creators or other platforms specifically aren't optimal. But I've had people say, like, obviously we don't repost anything, and for our clients, everything is original creations, but I've had people say in the comments that they have reposted things and it makes no real difference.
It's funny, I don't see a lot of reels ever with TikTok.
Yeah. I think it's better to be safe is to remove it.
Yeah, and it's like if the platform tells you to do something, just listen to them when they're telling you. Yeah.
And there's one thing that we say, if you're ripping at TikTok, which I imagine, Janelle, that's what you're talking about. There's a website called savettt.cc, I guess, save TikTok.
Yeah.
And then you just put in the link and save it, and it rips it without the watermark. So that's super handy. If you
savettt.cc is great. The other day I went to it though.
It didn't work?
Oh no, it's up again.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah.
I think it's one of those things where they probably get up and those
go up and down.
Yeah, you go
because they're all like sneaking around the system and stuff like that.
Yes. Okay, Roxana. So to revive an IG account, you said posting constantly, mostly amongst other things, for a shop. Would you recommend boosting it by a paid ad in order to engage customers?
I will always recommend advertising for sure.
Yeah.
We run every client that we work with, we run ads for as well. So there's always this organic strategy. But in terms of like being able to reach additional people who are highly targeted, ads are like the number one way to be able to do that. So I will always recommend ads for sure. And then of course posting consistent content and then still being like a good user of the app, so engaging with other people, still building that community. But when you're talking about ads that are like, hey, I want you to do this thing, which is buy and go here, it's always going to be like definitely recommend.
And use ads manager, not boosting.
And use ads manager, not boosting. I'm actually recording a video, I think
on the difference
between ads manager and boosting. But if you haven't seen our video on that full like 30, if you have 37 minutes, this 37-minute full Instagram ads tutorial, definitely recommend you check that out too.
Yes, in the ads playlist on the channel.
Yeah.
Irina, do you find that reels edited directly within the Instagram app perform better than the ones edited using apps like InShot?
So the reason why, so I wouldn't say as much of a performance. It's interesting. It's like when you edit within the app, you give yourself additional opportunities to increase your reach. And the reason that I'm saying that is because one, Instagram knows what the content is easier now that you've clipped it and edited in their app, which means that's why you'll see like these opportunities to take the text, you know, like the add text feature that you'll see on people's reels, the template feature, which is huge.
Yeah.
Like that's something that's really important to them. So their algorithm, of course, would make sense, would be pushing somebody who is going to encourage someone else to adopt a reel, right? And use reels. Because if I create something in app that's templatized, that means Craig can, when he sees it, he can hit that template and he's more likely to easily create a reel himself, which is more beneficial for the platform. However, if something's just a fire piece of content, it should, and it's optimized, it should do well.
Yeah.
As long as it's like, you know, very quick and easy and digestible in that first 3 seconds, it's something easily, you know, when you scroll, it's something that's you want to stop on. It's in the end, it's always going to be the content that's more important than the tactics around the content, I would say.
Good answer. Love that. Janelle, is there a way to troubleshoot my account to get scheduling ability in the app, or is Instagram only giving that to random accounts?
You don't have that? You're supposed to.
Yeah, that sounds... I don't know if there's a way to troubleshoot it, though. Like, it could just be not rolled out. That's usually what happens. If you don't have something, it just means
it's been around for like a few months, though. I'm surprised. Okay, you know what? In the membership, I'm just going to check every account that we manage. I have 9 on my phone. I'm going to see if there's a different... It's not everyone has it and we just didn't notice, because we use Sprout Social most of the time, so we rarely like schedule within Instagram.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to see out of curiosity if not every account has that. So I'll make a note for myself and I'll hit you in the members group.
Yeah, perfect. Good. While you're doing that, I'll move on. Rudy, what up? Do you recommend any good Instagram analytics tools? One of my clients' accounts doesn't show watch time for reels, and I'm wondering if I can get more insights from a third-party tool. So would you say, because I don't really do this as much, would you say that the Sprout would show like watch time for reels from what you've seen?
Thanks for becoming a member, Bassem.
Thanks, Bassem.
Do you recommend any good Instagram analytics tools? One of my clients' accounts doesn't show watch time for reels, and I'm wondering if I can get more insights. I have not seen a third-party tool yet that has that information on watch time. And I think it might be because they only recently started reporting on it, so there's a chance that it's just not, the API hasn't been given to them yet.
Yeah, hopefully that'll come soon. Irina's, what is your favorite social media scheduling platform?
Okay, guys, I'll tell you. So we use Sprout. Nothing is perfect. So that's what I'm going to tell you. Nothing is perfect across the board. We use Meta Business Suite we use a mix of Meta Business Suite for certain clients, depending on what they need, and then Sprout Social. So I'll say when it comes to, if you are working in a corporation, if you're a social media manager, if you are responsible with proving results, I would say that Sprout Social still is the best because the reporting is fantastic and they do have every major platform within that. So I would still recommend it for now. It's just pretty pricey. That's why it's like if you're working at a company, it's like an expense that they can write off. If you were solo doing it by yourself, I would recommend that you go with something like Later or Planoly. They're both great. I like Later too. Later we use more often. We used to use Planoli back in the day, especially with Sonder. And that was because like we were launching influencer marketing. I wanted to see what all the influencer content was going to look like in the feed. It was really obsessive with the grid and all that stuff. Later does that too. Yeah, Later ended up bringing that in. So Later has that. But Meta Business Suite, if you want something free that you can use and you're only focusing on Facebook and Instagram mostly, Meta Business Suite is free, and you can schedule all your content, including Reels, from Meta Business Suite. You just can't put you can't just put the trending audio in the same way that you can if you were pulling it from the app.
Right.
So that's a consideration. However, like if something's more efficient, I wouldn't make life harder for myself just to get trending audio when you could just use something like Epidemic Sound for really good music, or use Facebook Sound Collection.
Yeah, totally. Love it. Johnny, what up, Johnny? Do you think the time for educational pages on Instagram is over? I have one about history, mainly based on carousels, as well as some reels, and the reach is not like before.
I know what your thought is.
I wouldn't say it's over. I think it's really just about, and once again, it's like the last video we dropped about being a little savage about the content. It might just not be the content of the content, like what it's about, but it's the presentation perhaps.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the if you're doing carousels, I imagine it's like graphics or whatever it is. Maybe there's too much text or not enough text, and there's not, there's different things.
Yeah.
So
I can't say learning. I wouldn't say learning.
I feel like, because you're saying education, that's what we do.
Because I was like, we're education. Yeah. We're not. I wouldn't say that's an issue.
I mean, the algorithms are always like up and down. I mean, that's kind of part of the game.
Yeah.
And you got to keep tweaking things forever to see. So I would probably say the answer would be no. I don't think it's dying at all. Yeah. But I think it just could be worth trying different approaches and seeing if you get a different response or a better response to the different approaches, really.
Especially when it comes to how you present your reels, I'd wonder how varied they are, so that you could pull the pattern of what performs better than the other.
And maybe is your face on there? Are you saying it, or is it a voiceover, or is it just faceless and it's just text?
Because even when you think about YouTube Shorts, all of that type of content still kills it on YouTube too, which means people are still interested. And if you are doing reels about history and you're not on YouTube, I would highly recommend at least kicking off a YouTube Shorts channels with that content, because these faceless channels on YouTube are killing it. Yeah. That period.
It's a whole thing.
So
the very least, check all the reels up.
And there's monetization opportunities there, at least, where Instagram's monetization is not even anywhere close to the YouTube side of what you can make.
I mean, it's not easy. I think it's 10 million views and 1,000 subscribers for shorts if you just do a shorts only channel.
But a lot of people are going viral because it's like same thing as with TikTok. Yeah.
Like we're part of a YouTube Shorts creator program, and they have the fact that they even have one, and then they reach out to YouTube Shorts creators and be like, hey, come and go to these meetings and stuff. Like they're really focusing on it. So it's definitely worth giving that a crack. Janelle is asking, any tips for the best way to find viral content in your niche on Instagram?
100%. So that's where the hashtags are going to come in. And you have a theme page. So it's actually funny because when you dropped your page, your profile in the members group, I did click in. You would see, because I just followed it from High Season, like probably 2 hours ago or something. Yeah. And I was like, I have to tell Janelle that she should start looking at what content's performing really well by looking at the top posts through hashtags and the top pages. And because you're focusing on motivational content, that's huge. That industry is massive. So you can actually just even look at the top pages in your niche, look at the content that's performing the best. So if you see that their likes and comments, for example, are generally 3,000 and there are outliers where they're 9,000, 10,000, anything that's performing better than the norm, that's an example of good content that you can either revisit or repost. We'll have to get more into what your current strategy is. I'm not sure if you're reposting or what you're going to be doing with the theme page, or if you're going to be creating net new, but that will give you an indication of what content to apply to your own account as well. So I'd be looking at least 10 profiles and just seeing what they're doing, looking to see what content performs the best, and then adding that into your content strategy. And this depends if you're reposting. People who just repost on content, if you think about those massive theme pages that we all follow something in a theme, even if it's dogs, for example, and they're reposting, it's usually the same viral piece of content you even see across other theme pages. And it's because someone saw that something performed really well and then used that and reposted to their page. So, but this all depends on what your purpose and vision is, which we can get into more in the member lives, because it's creating is a priority for Instagram versus reposting. So that's something to consider.
Great point. Alrighty, Bomber Tank, I know you two have to be happy about Threads embracing the ability to switch between accounts.
We were literally just talking about it yesterday. Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Even though you have to sign in now manually for each one to
annoying.
re-sign in, so I was like, I have to actually sit down and do that part. But I'm so happy that they launched that feature.
So I wonder how that's going to change anything. Because I imagine, I'd love to know, is anyone here regularly using Threads, and like, are you excited about it? Like, does anyone really care? I don't know. Like,
let us know. We're very curious. As marketers,
curious.
we're just interested to know, like,
because we just use it.
Are you loving Threads? Are you liking it? Or are you just kind of like cross-posting content? Like, how do you feel? There was like so much excitement in the beginning, and I think we all know that has kind of like died down. Yeah. But if you don't love it, what would you like to see there? I think that's also super interesting to know. Yeah.
Unstoppable, what up? Okay, why my videos used to have a lot of reach and views, but now I don't have more reach? Does someone have an answer? I mean,
it's a big question.
I mean, that's really like there's so many different things. There's the algorithm itself. There is once again, I know I mentioned a bunch of times, the being savage about the content. It could be that it was appealing for a bit and then it stopped.
Things have changed,
and things change, and that's just an unfortunate part of social. Like the way that you present your stuff can work for a while, then all of a sudden it's just boom, and it's everything just like slowly plummets. You're like, damn, now I have to.
That's the algorithms sometimes, but the content is it could be, because think about the way like content trends change too, right? So you have to kind of be flexible with that too. Like, I just feel like, think about even pointing and dancing, where we were 2 years ago. Pointing and dancing was everything
and now it's not.
Thank goodness we've ended that era. It's still a little there, but at least maybe it's more like a slide as opposed to the reel. Like, you have to do all this. It's so ridiculous. So yeah, I mean, each to their own. It wasn't our vibe, but each their own. But it was everywhere, and you can see that changed. Now it's a lot of like B-roll content with text overlays or things that are really chopped up to the beat, that type of vibe. So it's like, maybe you need to look at your content in a new lens and see if does it still fit with what like people are responding to on the platform.
Yeah, definitely. Cameron, when you say optimize your content, how do I best optimize?
That is also a big question. So I think I'll point you to, are you talking about Instagram potentially? Because
I would imagine so.
Yeah, we do have a video, Cameron, on how to publish the perfect post and how to publish the perfect reel. It actually might just be in the description so you should be able to click through
and
to it.
And maybe Dan could even post it in the comments. Either of those ones, Dan. If you're able to.
So Dan, if you're able to drop, those two, how to share the perfect reel. I think you were actually doing that one on Pinterest today too. You're doing pins on that one today. So the perfect reel and the perfect post, I think that would help a lot, because when we're talking about optimization, we're talking about like, what kind of keywords are you putting in your post? What are the hashtags? What's the type of like actual visual content that you're using? Are you using location tags? It's like all the different elements to bring a post together to give it its best chance for the majority of people to see it.
Yes. Perfect.
And then if you have further questions, just drop them on the...
Keep dropping them in there. Alana, my reels are no longer reaching any non-followers. Any tips? I feel like people have been saying that a bit lately.
No longer reaching non-followers. That sounds like another optimization.
Yeah, it's
potentially
most
an optimization.
Likely. And it could also be like, it comes back again to the content. Like, I feel like there's like content markers where like, and this is kind of what they were telling us at Pinterest last night. Mm-hmm. I feel like Em was saying that like, it's like if the content sort of isn't making any sort of like a progression, and it's not, I don't know if I'm saying this right. Do you know what I'm talking about already? Like, if it isn't organically already kind of performing, like the algorithm's like, oh, people don't really like this. Like, you put it out and it's not, and then it'll just sort of like stop.
Yeah, so it definitely can be a content thing. Like, the platforms are always going to want for whatever you put out there to get someone to perform an action.
Yes.
So it's like, that's how you always are looking at it through the lens. Whereas like, if I share this, and when it went out to my followers, right, before we even hit the non-followers, when it went out to my followers, did they save it? Did they share it? Because share automatically means if they share it with someone who's not following you, then you'll see someone new will see it, right? So it's like, are any of these actions happening? If no actions are happening with the content, then it's like, one, is it the content that I need to change so that I motivate people to do something with it? Or two, am I optimizing it in a way that it actually, like via hashtags, any of these techniques, so that it gets in other people's faces and it is recommended? Because also when you think about how the algorithm works, I don't know if you've watched our video about how the algorithm works, but like it is using all of these signals to encourage the next steps, to basically dictate how it performs.
Yes.
So like if it went into Craig and Craig didn't like it, then me being a non-follower, for example, if Craig doesn't like it, they're like, okay, Craig and Tiff have similar interests, but Craig doesn't like this, so I'm not going to show it to another person who's like him, and it just continues to kind of like spiral from there. So that's a consideration for sure.
Yeah. Mike, I know followers are overrated. I do high-end dating confidence coaching, 2,600 to 4K. I have 350 IG followers. Should I focus more so on follower growth still, or creating value and selling the current ones? Great question. You are right that followers aren't everything, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they care. But I think you could probably do it almost like a bit of both. The creating value is key. When you said that, I'm like, yeah, that's the key word here. Creating the value in your content and delivering, like, because you have higher end services, right? I mean, even if like this is what we're doing, like brands who want to work with us, it's a higher end service, but there's a lot of information that we can put out for free in the content to sort of like, it's like, you could call it a sales funnel, but you could just, you're building a community around that information. So if there's things that aren't going to sort of cannibalize your paid products and your paid services, then use that and just put as much value as you can without affecting your business side into your social content. Whether that's, Instagram, whether it's like, YouTube as well. If you're going to be doing stuff, like Tiff mentioned before, like shorts, even if you're not making full-length YouTube videos, at the very least do short. Throw it on TikTok, why not? I would say definitely focus on creating the value and creating the relationships, I guess, as well, as opposed to like selling to them. More like creating the relationships, and then there's like a trust that's built because they're like, well, Mike knows what he's talking about, he's telling me this, and maybe they'll try a couple things that you have suggested, but there's only so far you can get with free content. So and that's sort of where a lot of this comes from for any business, really. Like, free content is awesome, and it brings people in, and it can, sometimes that's where the road ends for a particular follower. They'd be like, oh, I get all the information I need, that's what I need to keep going, cool. Then other people just want more higher touch, or they just want more information that you just can't possibly give unless there's going to be some sort of paid one-on-one situation. So yeah, think about that value. That's the way we approach this. It's like, how much value can we deliver without cannibalizing our other stuff? And, that's really like a good approach, I think. I think it's healthy. Is there anything to add to that? Or?
No, that's perfect.
Just feeling it?
Yeah.
Okay, I respect it. King CMC TV.
Oh, these are some gifts.
Look at that.
So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but we've been gifting memberships, and those are the gifts that we were talking about. So we have a membership channel, and we're gifting out some memberships. So after this, you'll notice that you are able to access and see the perks. So don't forget to check that out.
Yes.
And welcome. Bomber Tank. So it's 500 subs. Remember they made it easier.
They changed it.
Yeah, they changed. Yeah,
3 million views. Yeah. Thank you for reminding us.
It's short. I don't know.
Even 3 million views.
3 million views is a lot, but a lot of people go viral on there. So there's still opportunities.
Because they are focusing.
Yeah,
which is dope. Which is really cool. Mike, Threads. I got exhausted quickly by how slow my growth was. I would love to see scheduling so I can load a bunch of content versus having to make time daily for another platform with 18 followers. Yeah, man.
That's fair. The scheduling is something they need to bring to Threads too.
And also the third-party apps need to probably get in on that. Yeah. They kind of maybe jumped the gun a little bit.
I think it was about getting fast.
I think because everyone was mad at Twitter, so then they were like, all right, let's
get on the momentum. Yeah, it did work for them in the way that they also made it like.
But people would have signed up anyway because it's Instagram, like related. I feel like, I don't know. There's probably a lot of pros and cons to the approach, but. Studio Cameron is saying, I use Threads daily, but I won't get excited until I can see trending topics. That's a great point.
Still another thing.
It's hard to find conversations I should know about without this feature. That's such a good point.
Yeah.
And that's probably my favorite thing about Twitter is I check every single day. I check for trending topics just to see what's going on because that's where the news is at. And I wonder if that's what their intention for Threads is going to be. Are they going to want to make it the news thing? We shall see. I think it looks like Dan, thank you. Looks like you posted the link to
Thanks,
the video
Dan.
there. You are the GOAT. Smith K, what are your best tips for using your insights to improve, evaluate your content? What numbers matter and how can you improve by using this information?
This is a really good question. So we use our insights to really dictate content, especially on a long-term perspective. So maybe at like a 90-day view, but also like in a quicker short form, which is like, say, like looking at the next month when you're planning your next month content. The things that we look at and that in general are industry standard is not actually as much reach and impressions as you would think. Engagement rate, so that's like your reach divided by your total engagement in order to see like the percentage. So as many people, actual people, we don't use impressions that often because impressions is like serving versus like an individual account or an individual person. So we'll use the reach to just kind of understand with as if this reached 50 people, how many people actually engaged with it once they saw it. And then the metrics that will really dictate content is save, share, and follows. So like in your Instagram insights, you're also able to see, and this depends on what the client's like goals are. A lot of the times follows just always are like everyone's goal all the time.
Yeah.
Even though you try to talk people out of it being fixated on it. And when we're working with other clients who like no marketing, or you're working with another marketer, they not focus as much on it, but we're focused on like getting out content that people are going to respond to because we know that's going to lead to growth anyways. So saves and shares and follows. Watch time is another thing to pay attention to, but it's not as easily accessible through like third-party apps either. So it's kind of like, because it's very new, but that's another thing to pay attention to is like, when people are watching it, are they watching it all the way through? That you're going to get a good indication if it says like 44 hours of watch time, for example, on a reel, that this reel is performing well. The reason we really focus on shares and saves is because we know that means that this person is either, with its save, going to go back to the content later. If they thought it was important and valuable enough to go back to. We find that a lot with like tip-based, educational-based, or any product. Like, and that means like, okay, this is really good and it's resonating. Shares, I even now putting shares above saves a little bit. And the reason that I'm doing that is because DMs are also very important. Meta has said this, Adam Masori had a podcast the other day and he was talking about how DMs and stories are something that they're really looking at, and because so much goes down in the DMs basically. So if you can get in this chain where people are like, oh, I got to send this to my friend. Oh, I got to send this here. Or I'm in a group with 6 people and I'm going to share this to my group of 6 people, then you're really doing something right. And this can happen in so many categories. If you're in fashion, in the end, if somebody's like, oh, this dress is dope, or this funny content piece surrounding this fashion brand was funny, and they're sending in a group of your friends, you've just increased your awareness by 6 times, So... yeah. That's why we're really focusing on it. So it's looking at these metrics, looking at the columns, and then highlighting what's doing the best, and then seeing if there's a commonality between that. And maybe it's even the first time we ever did it. So if it's the first time we ever did this post and it's an outlier, see how you can reinvent that or do something similar to that content piece that worked really well.
Great point. Crafted strategy. I'm just looking at the time now, and I think we've got a bunch of questions still coming.
Oh, hey. Okay.
Any advice for growing an audience outside of the location you're in, or should you not attempt it at all? It feels like more of an uphill climb.
It depends, because outside of like all of our clients are in the U.S., so no one's in our location. So I don't think that, except for consulting, say.
Yeah, the consult, sorry.
Yeah. So I would say that it really depends on your business goals. Like if your goal is to be a namesake within your specific city, for example, in like how a realtor would be, or maybe you just want to be a consultant who's really known very well in your own city, then just focus on engaging with local content and local accounts of other accounts, for example, and having these conversations, really being like personable and having like real conversations with people on the platforms to just attract local people. But if you're somebody like us who can serve across the board, I wouldn't say it's harder. You just have to make sure that your content is something that's just, not shareable and it's not location specific and feels like it's only made for the location that you're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Smith K, for business accounts, have you found testimonial posts to be beneficial or no? I don't really think so. I feel like I guess it depends how, but like I don't think that's really, I don't know. I don't think we've really done many of those for any clients or even
We're
ourselves.
Kind of doing it for SS, but
a little bit.
Yeah,
that's different.
But they were like epically produced testimonials that almost don't feel like testimonials. So when you have the, hey, I worked with John and he was great, like I really learned. I don't see an on-feed performing well because it's very self-serving.
Yes.
So maybe that's something that could come as like a second, that could be used in an ad, for example.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
In response to something that you did brand awareness for, an ad campaign, we did brand awareness, and that's like a second hook, which is like, oh, if you saw me before and you're still wondering about me, that could be used as like an ad. If it's not like a fantastic, amazing piece of content. But it's like you have to think sometimes, like, does it feel too self-serving and it's not really going to help? Is it boring? Is it just text or something like that? Do people really want to read that? Do they really care to save it or share it? At the worst, I could see it being, like, at the least invasive, I could see it being a story series that you pin.
Okay.
Not pin, highlight.
Yeah.
So like that could be just something like what our clients say or what my customers say, and that's something that you highlight. But being something in feed that people are going to love and engage with, I don't really see that happening unless the content's fire.
Yep, agreed. Yeah. Deep Black Outlaw, what up? Welcome. Cameron. Oh no, sorry, he's responding to that last thing. Johnny, what do you think a normal reach should be? Is it 10%, 20%, or more?
You have to use your own benchmarks, Johnny. That I'll say for sure. Which is like as you're growing, that's why you need to be tracking your stats so that you can see if you're increasing. Yes. Because technically, organically, I don't think Instagram has officially said what organic reach is, but I know on Facebook it's like 0%, for example. So then it's kind of like anything over 0% is amazing, but you should really be comparing yourself to yourself. A secondary thing you could do is look at benchmarks in your industry.
Yeah.
So that's
how would someone find that, perhaps?
That's literally Googling. We did that hotel brands. We'd be like, there's a lot of reports that usually come out on every industry, so at least adjacent industries. So we would do that. We would say like educational, what are the reach that educational brands are following on Instagram? And there'd usually be an article about like top 10 brands and what they're getting. That's why we knew like kind of like the engagement rate was kind of at 1.6%. Now it's like 3% is a good time, depending on the industry. Some are higher. So when we get these 9% engagement rates, that's when we're like, oh, we're in a really good spot, Right.
Probably not the most common thing in the world.
Yeah. And in the end, when you're having saves and shares, and if you're focusing on that, your reach is going to grow based on that. Yeah. So that's something to consider too.
Exactly. So that's come to the end of the questions. And
we're just at the right time.
We just hit the hour
because we're supposed to end at 3.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So really hope that you enjoyed this live.
Yes. Tiff, so once again, the membership is open now. Tiff threw out a bunch of gifts there to some folks. So you can hit into the member tab and look in there. We just getting it started when he rolled it out. Was it this week or last week?
I think at the end of last week. So we have our first post in there just with people introducing themselves. So definitely go in there and introduce yourself on the post. And then the first freebie is going to be at the end of this month.
And we're
on the 30th.
On the 30th, and we're going to do 2 live Q&As like this in the members tab, probably around the 1st and 15th of every month.
But we're also going to be asking you all in a poll there, just like what days and times are the best. Because if it's like Friday's never the best for anyone, we don't want to like make it a Friday, for example.
We're just thinking in our head, what's the easiest way to seperate it all? Like 1st and 15th-ish. Mm-hmm. But we're very flexible depending on what the community wants. So, hopefully this gave you guys. I couldn't even tell you the last time we did. We haven't done one live in this house, have we?
No, we haven't done a live at all here. Yeah,
just because
it's been a long time.
Yeah, they can sort of ruin the overall performance of the channel and stuff. Unfortunately, that's
optimization. It gets in your head, It's like it's a funny world.
But at least we're able to do those because we enjoy it. It's great when there's a lot of people asking cool questions and they're really thoughtful questions. Today they were fantastic ones. So thank you guys for asking those great questions and for hanging out with us. And a lot of people saying nice things. You guys are awesome.
Thank you guys. You guys are awesome. Yeah, Bomber Tank, Janelle, Smith K, Irina, Johnny. I'm so happy to hear that this helped you all. Yes. So this is basically why we want to do this, and we're just going to be doing it inside the membership, so it's even a bit more tailored, and we can kind of talk longer on someone's questions. We can
Because I
kind
guess
of
we
go
don't have
back
to
and
worry
forth a bit
about
more.
the time.
Yeah, because we don't have to worry about
this, we're
timing
like,
in the
I
same
wanna
way.
keep it a bit shorter and stuff like that.
Here we can't impact our watch time too much, so we have to be mindful of time. It's so terrible.
Yeah, well,
But that's the
yeah.
optimization engine.
It does.
All right. Yeah.
It's a bit of a shame, but that's
Yeah.
what at least the membership allows us. We can just sit here, like if we would put an afternoon aside so that if people keep having questions, we just sit here as long as it takes, really.
Yeah.
To answer
Yeah.
everything, which is the intention. Once again, it all comes back to value.
Yeah.
We want to give you guys as much as possible, and then in the work that you guys are doing for your, oh, that's awesome. In the work that you were doing in your own social, hopefully you're able to do the same thing and just think of that value that you're able to sort of give your followers and your potential customers as well.
Yeah.
To just sort of continue that, and if everybody is just putting out value that's like authentic, like this real value and not fluff. Which unfortunately in every industry there's always fluff. It doesn't matter what it is. I know. Imagine that'd be a cool world. Where
Oh my gosh!
putting out value
Imagine.
all the time.
Yeah.
Hey,
where it's not content just for content. It's like
it's like actually putting something
better.
thoughtful out there, and less often but better stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess that's for that. But really appreciate you guys taking your time on this.
Mike, thank you so much.
Yes, it's gorgeous Friday afternoon, wherever you are. Appreciate you all. And
have a beautiful weekend.
Yes, enjoy, soak it up. This, I guess, technically today is the
last day of summer. Enjoy.
Boo. In the northern hemisphere, but if you're in the southern now, actually, they probably would be asleep. Anyway.
Yeah.
Big ups to the Aussies.
Yeah.
All right, y'all.
Bye.
We'll see you
have
next
a beautiful
time.
weekend.
Take care. Bye.